I hate candy canes and I hate eggnog. I hate fruitcake. And if I see one more blinky eyed Santa, I'm just going to punch his lights out. We're talking 80s adaptations of A Christmas Carol. Hit it. It was the 1980s. Voltron defended the universe. Balky and Larry were perfect strangers. Tom Hanks had a bachelor party, and Charles Dickens' immortal classic was the template for hours of entertainment. I'm your host, Jerry D, with another episode of Totally Rad Christmas, the podcast that talks all things Christmas in the 80s. Toys, movies, specials, music, and fads. If it was gnarly during Christmas in the 80s, we got it covered. Now, joining me is a Totally Rad Christmas all-star. He actually wrote the book on Christmas. It's the author of the Christmas book, Ed Daly. Ed, how's it going?
Hey Jerry, thanks for having me on. I love good and bad versions of A Christmas Carol. I find it's so fascinating. I put a whole chapter of my book about I updated it this year, so I'm up to about 125 different versions of A Christmas Carol, and some are very brief mentions, like the Scooby Doo we'll briefly talk about, and then some are straight up adaptations like Mickey's Christmas Carol or something like that.
Right.
But it's a great story. Obviously, it's stood the test of time, but also it's such a crutch for lazy television makers.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. If I had my own show, or if I was a writer on a show, I totally would do a Christmas Carol.
100% do a version. I love it, but you can tell sometimes when people are just going through the motions.
Oh, definitely. There's a few made for TV movies that are they're awful, but they tried. I guess they tried their hardest, and so
yeah, I'm up for all adaptations. I love it.
Oh yeah. It's a story that's. I mean, it's just it's timeless, really. If you think about it, who doesn't like a spooky ghost story on Christmas Eve? And especially now, it's so ingrained in our culture that you say A Christmas Carol, everybody knows what you're talking about, or they have their favorite version of it.
What is interesting, I find, when TV shows do it, it's kind of tricky, because if you have a jerk of a character, that the TV show functions on them being a jerk.
Right.
Like if it's Mel on Alice,
mm-hmm.
He clearly doesn't learn any lessons by December 26th because he's a jerk in every episode. And then some shows, they'll do it where it's somewhat of a peripheral character.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can kind of have them learn a lesson, but it doesn't matter as much. But it's just hard because TV characters tend to be the same. They don't evolve so much. Whereas the whole point of the original story is the evolution of a man.
Right.
So it's just kind of interesting which character they choose to rehabilitate.
Well, and then not just that, they have to cram so much into that little, 23 minutes that they have generally. And so sometimes they'll cut characters out. Sometimes they'll make scenes very, very brief. Sometimes they won't even use all three ghosts.
Right. The first ever episode I did with you, we did a Keaton Christmas Carol, and they just axed present.
Yeah.
Past to future.
Well, and one that we'll talk about a little bit later, same thing. There's no past or no future. It's just present, and that's all we see. So, you have to navigate your show as best you can in a way that's going to get the point across, still make sure that it's an adaptation, but also just fit it all in a way that makes sense. So, you do what you can and hope that it works.
Yeah.
But so we're here to talk about 80s versions of these shows. And so a lot of them are going to be TV because, of course, there's so many more TV shows. They can really do it. Some of them are going to be movies. And then there's like a special or two here and there that are just kind of wacky. But
Yeah.
before we start, let me ask, what would you say is your favorite version of A Christmas Carol?
Well, so my favorite straight up portrayal is the Alistair Sim version from 51 or 2.
51,
Is
yeah.
Yeah. As far as like a very strict telling of the tale. But my favorite adaptation and my favorite version that I love watching is Scrooged.
Oh, yeah.
And I went back and it came out, I think I was like 12 years old.
Right.
It's Peter Venkman. I couldn't have been a bigger fan. I remember going to that movie opening weekend. I was so excited and I loved it and it delivered. And when he's talking to the audience
At the
in
end.
the movie theater, and I was there and people are singing next to me, it was like one of my favorite movie theater experiences. And so I love that movie. And then I was reading, I think when I was putting some things together for my book, I never even considered that there are a lot of people who hate that version, but to me that was always my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm right there with you. That's one of my top 3 Christmas movies of all time, Scrooged.
Yes.
And that one just kind of depends on my mood, which of the other two are, if it's Home Alone or Christmas Vacation. But Scrooge is always right up there. But then my fourth is A Muppet Christmas Carol. I really like that version as well.
So I'm right there with you. I think what a brilliant decision it was to have Michael Caine play that movie straight up like
Mhm.
he's with human actors, and he gives a great acting performance, but it makes the whole thing work so well because he doesn't wink at the camera when Fozziwig or whatever, he's in it, and I love that version as well.
Yeah. And I love it so much that I've caught myself saying Fozziwig instead of Fezziwig when talking about other versions of Christmas
That's
Carol
right.
as well.
That's right.
Yeah, those are both fantastic. But let's talk the 80s. That's why
Yes.
we're here. We both love that era and all the stuff that kind of goes with it. And so you sent me a list of a lot of the versions that occur. So let's break it down. We'll do TV versions first, then we'll go through TV specials, although there's like one or two that could be considered either one. So
I wasn't
yeah.
sure which couple of them you pointed out when I sent you the list of things I had. I I had never, this show Brave Star was just off my radar altogether. I didn't even know about this one, so I watched it just recently for the first time. And how long was this show in existence? I didn't know this show at all.
Yeah, so it was like the mid to late 80s, and Filmation had pretty much finished with like He-Man and She-Ra, or they were just about done with She-Ra, and they needed something new. And so they came up with the idea of like a space cowboy, basically. And so it's set on the planet New Texas. It's the Sheriff Brave Star, and he has magical powers, of course. It's like the speed of a puma and the strength of a bear, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the villain is Tex Hex. He's like the bad guy. We come to find out he's not like the guy in charge, really, even though we all this time we thought he was. There's like a higher evil, kind of like the Emperor, I guess, named named Stampede, and he's the one that kind of corrupted Tex Hex. And so in this version here, it's really about another character named Shaman, who's a stereotypical Native American character, unfortunately, but it was the 80s,
Yeah.
and so it is
Yeah.
what it is. But anyway, and so in this version from, let's see, I have it here. I want to make sure I get the year correct. I think it's like 87. Oh, I lost it. Okay, well, anyway, it doesn't matter.
It's probably the only version that I've seen where somebody Tex kicks McBride in the face with a heel. He's the only version where I see the Scrooge-like character kick someone in the face with their heel.
You know, I wouldn't put it past Scrooge to do something like that, but
It's in his nature. You just don't see him use the physicality quite so much.
no, like I think if George C. Scott, he could have done it. I could picture him doing it, although we
He's
don't
pretty
see it.
mean.
But okay, so this was from December 14th, 1987, written by Don Heckman, directed by Tom Tataranowitz. And yeah, so Stampede is basically planning an attack on this little town. He's going to steal something, but a shaman appears to Tex Hex and convinces him, that since his long lost love is there, not to do it.
Come, let us see.
I ain't going nowhere with you.
Oh, yes, you are.
Hey, where are you taking me?
Back to your past.
It's another one of those where they kind of cut out some ghosts, but essentially Shaman is like the main ghost.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate this version for completely letting you know that they're not planning on redeeming the character, because I wrote down this quote at the end. Brave Star says, "I reckon you're right, Shaman. Tex Hex will be as mean as a critter as ever tomorrow. But remember, he's only a character in a show. In the real world, if you look for the good in people, you just might find a friend. Try it." So they're letting you know Tex Hex will be a villain in the next episode.
You know what? That's how you do it. You just break the fourth wall.
You don't pretend he's changed. You just tell the audience, look, we're just doing this Christmas Carol thing. We're going back to not liking this dude.
Status quo is going to be maintained. So yeah, I will. And I remember watching that one. It was okay. I think I was like second or third, maybe fourth grade, something like that. And I remember a buddy of mine and I really liked the show. And so we were going to have like a club, but it turns out we were like the only two that ever really liked it. So then we never formed our club. We're just whatever. Let's just watch it.
Yeah, it was interesting. It's very odd to consume something 30 however many years ago and had never heard of it or anything. So I was like coming into this show trying to think of like, well, what goes on when it's not a Christmas Carol type thing. But I was glad to watch it. And when I update my book again, that'll have to go in.
Right on. I dig it. But let's go back. Let's start with 1980. And so this is from WKRP in Cincinnati.
Yes.
Bah Humbug. That was their second Christmas episode. And it was the 7th episode of season 3. So season 3, episode 7. Directed by Rod Daniel, written by Lisa Levin. And well, she's at least credited as the editor. I don't know who actually wrote it, but December 20th, 1980 is when it aired. And the basic plot line is that AC, or Mr. Carlson, however you want to call him, plans to give the staffers like no Christmas bonuses. He's going to buy like this big, what is it like? What is it called? It's like a board, like soundboard or something.
Yeah. Oh, I forget what they call it in that. This is going to drive me nuts because I can picture it.
I know. I'm thinking about it.
And I just did it. So a little cross promotion. I actually discussed this specific version with Jack on Total Christmas Podcast.
Oh, nice.
We just talked about it last week. So this is really embarrassing that I don't know this version. I don't know the word, but the one thing I'd say about this is the Scrooge, they make Mr. Carlson into a Scrooge when he was bumbling, but he wasn't in that show. He wasn't really a jerk. His mom, his like unseen mother, was always the villain behind the scenes, but they kind of made him a little bit meaner than he ever is on any episode. So his transformation at the end and being extra generous, it kind of takes because he's not a mean guy on that show.
Yeah, it's not like later on when we talk about Alice and like you said, Mel, like that's his whole character. He was the grump, the kind of stingy.
That was an abusive workforce.
I know.
Workplace environment. Like he was very mean. He would tell them their work. There was another Christmas episode of Alice where he's like, "Oh yeah, as it turns out, no bonuses, and you guys all have to work on Christmas." Like he was rough on them.
Yeah, but you're right. Like AC never really. I mean, he wasn't a Scrooge per se. I think it would have been more interesting if they had done it with his mom.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
But there are no ghosts. I'm dreaming, and I'm going to wake up now. Bye. So long, and happy holidays.
Buster, before you wake up, you're going to be haunted by 3 ghosts.
Got it. 1, 2, 3. Three ghosts.
Eat their words. Might be good for you. I got to run. Any questions?
Yeah, I can't wake up.
I know. Well, Scrooge could wake up. He didn't eat one of Johnny's brownies.
But he finds the light from eating one of Johnny Fever's brownies.
Fever's brownies, yeah. Yeah, it was 1980, you know.
Yeah. It's solid. I found it pretty fun enough, and at the end, Johnny Fever gets a kiss from Lonnie Anderson.
Lonnie Anderson's character. Is it Jennifer?
Yeah, he gets a kiss from Jennifer, and then he says, "God bless us, everyone," because he gets the kiss from her. But that, like I was talking about with Brave Star, Jack had never even heard of that show. So the first time he ever watched that Christmas Carol, he didn't know that show, and some of the jokes you realize it's because you know the show and you know the characters.
Right.
You know that Johnny was always trying to kiss Jennifer, or he was always interested in her. So that was like why that is a funny moment when she actually kisses him under the mistletoe. I found that to be a pleasant enough episode.
Yeah, it plays well. I just watched it a little while ago again, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So
yeah,
you know, it's like one of those like the turkey drop.
That's probably my favorite ever episode.
Yeah, I think
as God is my witness, I swore turkeys. I swear turkeys could fly.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that was 1980. Now that one actually did include some Christmas songs. Of course, they were all uncredited, but it was like Perry Como had a version that was like the Hallelujah chorus, Jingle Bells by Gordon Jump, things like that. And so it just really added a lot to the atmosphere, but some of these don't. It's just like the characters singing, the regular cues are used, and you know, maybe added some jingle bells. So I appreciated that they kind of went a little more all out as far as the Christmas goes.
But as you mentioned it, I wonder, because that show is available on YouTube, but I have never seen that on streaming. And is it because they used a lot of music in that show?
It could be, actually. It could be all the rights issues. A lot of times when they purchase these rights, therefore, depending on which version, if like they just rights to perform or if it's the actual rights of that particular song, then sometimes they only have the rights to air it that one time or air it, you know, in first run, something like that. So it could be, because you're right. I don't think it's streaming anywhere, or if it is, you have to purchase, I think.
Yeah. Like it's just over the years, I've never seen that on any streaming platform.
Right. But speaking of Mel, let's move on to the third Christmas episode of Alice. And this was from season 6, I believe. It aired December 20th, 1981, directed by Mark Daniels, written by Linda Morris and Vic Razio. And this is basic Christmas Carol again. Everyone at Mel's Diner is in the Christmas spirit except Mel, who wants everyone to work on Christmas Eve until midnight because the local mall is keeping its stores open till midnight. And then he's visited by his old boss, Jake Farley. I see what they did there.
Yeah, very subtle.
Yeah.
If you just pay attention, you might quite get it.
Yeah.
I will say that I think he was really mean, but Vic Tayback is he was a funny actor to be that bullying Mel, but I don't know. This was when the show was on its last legs, right?
Right. Yeah. Flo, I think had already left, right?
Yeah, she had already quit, which she became, you know, the Kiss My Grits was like the big moment. That was like, what you talking about, Will? It's like you wanted to see that. So you're watching Alice and you don't get a Kiss My Grits.
Right.
It's a tough sell.
It was. And of course, Mel, he comes around, he goes over the top.
Good King Winchies, what's his name? La 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 la. Good King Winchies, what's his name? La 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 la. Oh, my sweet little waitresses. Oh, Merry Christmas, Alice, for you. And Merry Christmas, Vera, for you. And Merry Christmas, Jolene, for you. And Merry Christmas, Tiny Tom, for you.
Males Bales have lost their clappers.
Now it's just for this one Christmas, so I don't know if this is just a particular Christmas thing that maybe he does every year after that and we never see it, or if it's just if it's just for this one time, but he actually dreams, and he's got the whole full night shirt and everything, that
Yes.
which I didn't realize people still wore night shirts even that late, so why not?
Yeah. It has nothing to do with Christmas Carol, but the only other time I saw somebody in the 80s wearing one of those full Dickensian nightshirts was Peter Brady in the Brady Christmas reunion.
Oh, yeah.
For some
Yeah.
reason, he's wearing one of those.
Hmm.
They don't explain it. It doesn't make sense. It's like, oh, cool. Peter's dressed like he's in a different century.
They're just trying to bring in a little bit of Christmas Carol in there. But yeah, so Mel comes around and gives them all bonuses. He decorates the whole place. He doesn't serve moldy rolls anymore. Or at
Yeah.
least that's what we're
Until
led to
January, the
believe.
episode on January 2nd or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And I liked Alice, but you're right. It was like as soon as Flo left, I remember my family not watching it as much because that was one of ours where like we'd all gather around the TV and we'd watch, and that was like one of our shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watching it again, hearing the theme song was like, man, this was a great show. And then watching the episode is like, well, it's a solid episode. It's nothing special. And so, oh well.
Yeah.
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 But moving on, because we have a lot of ground to cover here. There are a lot of versions in the 80s.
There really are.
This is A Dickens of a Christmas from the Dukes of Hazzard. It was the 4th episode of the 2nd season. They only had 2 seasons. It was typical 13 episode runs of the cartoon, directed by a lot of people, so I'm not going to name them all. And it was from October 8th, 1983. Basically, it was a cartoon version of the Dukes of Hazzard. They're running this big race for whatever the prize was. I don't even remember. And there's a rule that there's no racing on Christmas, but of course, Boss Hogg tries his best to get around that rule by celebrating like Orthodox Christmas, which is like January 6th-ish, around the Feast of the Epiphany. And so he's going to try to race, and then he's visited by spirits of the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future, and his old boss, I think.
And this is the cartoon, and the General Lee gets turned into a garbage truck.
It does, yeah. It gets turned into a garbage truck. He's like laughing because he's ruined the Dukes, and so he owns them now, basically. And he bought their farm, and so they're using the General Lee as a garbage truck, and that was like his big thing. I did find it interesting that the Ghost of Christmas Future looks a lot like the Ghost of Christmas Never from the Nutcrackers, which we'll be talking about.
Yes, that sort of ominous. Yeah, it's got like the faceless, scary robe thing.
Yeah, yeah. The designs they're very close. Good old Ruby Spears, in Hanna-Barbera style. So
yes.
But yeah, I mean, it was fun. I'm glad they went back to Bo and Luke, because in that first season they were using the cousins.
They were using Coy and Vance?
Yeah.
I didn't remember that. They used them in the cartoon?
They did. Yeah.
Wow.
And it was because they were around when that cartoon started. And then the originals came back, and so Bo and Luke came back. So
yeah. If we were talking about how losing Flo was a bad thing, the Coy and Vance year. Coy and Vance year, I'm shocked the show was able to exist after that.
Well, and it's funny because they were so like their cousins. Like there's literally no distinguishing them except the fact that they look different.
The writers' room, they were given no notes on the new characters. They just tried to make it like maybe you'd forget that these weren't the original. I don't know. There was no quirks to the new guys.
After watching them for however many seasons, let's just pretend these guys are the old guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it really was an interesting year. But again, in 84, the next year, December 1st, we get the Nutcracker Scoob. This was a half-hour Christmas episode of the new Scooby-Doo mystery. So, they had a whole bunch of series of Scooby-Doo. And this one starred mostly Shaggy, Scrappy.
This is my least favorite iteration of the 12 different versions of Scooby-Doo, because they replace one character.
Right.
There's no Velma. She's the most interesting member of the mystery gang, and they replace her with Scrappy, who I was never a fan of Scrappy.
She would come out. It was like they would alternate between her and Fred.
Yeah, but like in this episode,
in this one, there's no Velma. It's
she's just not even mentioned.
Maybe she's hanging out with her family at Christmas. I don't know. But
yeah, maybe she had enough of Scrappy, and she's like, you know what, I'm doing the holidays alone.
She's like, I'm out. That's I can't do this. Yeah, Scrappy, and I love Frank Welker and all those guys, but Scrappy is something else. I can't do Scrappy Doo.
No,
Yeah.
there was even though there it was like a children's pageant.
Right.
This was a pretty convoluted episode as even for Scooby-Doo standards. But there was a Scrooge-like guy.
Yes.
Well, what that guy
Winslow Nickleby.
Yeah, Nickleby.
Yeah. Nickleby.
But he's not haunted by the ghosts.
No.
It's the ghost of Christmas Never.
Right.
That's chasing after these Scooby-Doo and Scrappy and Shaggy most of the time.
It's a weird mashup of the Nutcracker and A Christmas Carol. And that doesn't really play it. Like they wanted to include it all, and I think they should have just stuck with one or the other.
And they also wanted a
Scooby-Doo, but
French maid.
Oh yeah,
Nanette.
Nanette, yeah. Spoiler alert: she's the villain.
Yeah, she wanted an emerald that was inside a Nutcracker.
Right.
But it was, and then there was one moment where Scooby, Shaggy, and Scrappy poses Cockney chimney sweeps.
Yes.
Like it didn't. So that maybe that was sort of a nod towards London, like Dickensian. I don't know, but it was almost like it was Dick Van Dyke's character in Mary Poppins. I mean, not sure what they were doing.
Yeah, I really don't know. I enjoyed it because it was Scooby-Doo, but at the same time, you're right. It's like a mess when you talk about the plot. It just doesn't make any sense.
And I'm a big Scooby-Doo fan
and an orphanage, of course, because you got to have an orphanage. Yeah, yeah.
Orphans get a big role at Christmas episodes.
Yes, they do.
I said the ghost of Christmas past is coming to haunt me.
Where's Scooby? I'm coming, Freddy.
I said the ghost of Christmas past. Oh! Wow, Scoob, what a keen costume.
I'm over here, Raggy.
Like, if you're here, then who's he?
Oh, I am the ghost of Christmas Never.
Hey, that's not in the script. Like, he's a real ghost. Run for it!
No, but the one that was a lot easier to follow was Another Song for Christmas, which was the Highway to Heaven. And this one was from December 19th, 1984. So it was just a few days after the other one, that Scooby-Doo one. And in this one, it's again another variation. It's up to Jonathan and Mark to get Honest Eddie Barton, a crooked-as-they-come used car dealer, into the Christmas spirit. Now, I'll confess, I don't remember this one, and I didn't have time to watch it. So
I think much like Quicksand in the 80s, we saw a lot of used car dealers causing problems.
Yes, we did. That is true.
I think that they're like probably like any profession that there's good and bad, but that was a trope in the 80s. You had a lot of used car dealers ripping someone off or doing something, and this was kind of an over the top jerk. This was a kind of a not so. This was they usually have the Highway to Heaven. There's a kind of a higher purpose for the episodes, I think.
Right.
And this was, we're going to give the writers half a week off, and we're just going to have them sort of rip off the Christmas Carol. I didn't think this was like that memorable.
Gotcha. Well, then I'm glad I skipped it. It was the 13th episode of season 1. I just remember my grandma always watching Highway to Heaven, but usually what that meant that when she was watching it, us grandkids had to run out and go play. So, I don't mind. Yeah, this wasn't one of my favorite shows by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, I think also my grandmother watched that show. I just never, I never really took to it. And my sister forced me to watch a lot of Little House on the Prairie with her, and I always wanted to watch something else, but that was the show I had to concede. So because of that, I had a kind of a distrust of anything Michael Landon. I was like, no more of this guy.
You were traumatized.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Okay, so let's move on to 1985. This is from December 13th. It was a Jetson Christmas Carol. Again, Hanna-Barbera, based on A Christmas Carol, written by Mark Pecos and Barbara Levy. And it's Christmas Eve in Orbit City. And basically what happens is Astro accidentally swallows one of Spacely's sprockets. And
it was like part of
part of a machine, like a cat, right?
A cat that he was chasing. I think he opened his Christmas present early, and it was like a cat for you to chase, and he caught it in like 10 seconds, and then started choking on one of the sprockets,
as one does. And
but here's a perfect example. Mr. Spacely was definitely not redeemed in any way, because the next episode, I'm sure he threatened to fire George Jetson.
Right. And he only does it. It's not even because he's moved, to be a better person. He fixes things because he finds out that he gets sued, and Jetson like takes all his money and he starts running the company. And so it's more that he's just afraid to be poor. So I guess that kind of scans it.
And we find that George worked for Spacely, running a lemonade stand for him as a kid. This abusive relationship has endured over decades.
They're codependent.
Yeah. He doesn't need to work for him, but he can't help himself.
No.
And then when Spacely sees the light, he's like, all right, I'm going to get sued. And the Jetsons are super rich. They lose Astro in the process, but like in the future, they're super rich from this lawsuit.
Right.
And he's moved that Jetson's rich and he's poor, and so he shows up with gifts and a vet to help Astro. Vet, who is a pretty violent vet, he just reaches into the throat and rips out the sprocket.
He doesn't waste any time. He knows what's up. Yeah.
But then he gives gifts to the family.
Right.
A guitar, roller skates. He gives George a raise. He gives Rosie a silver apron. He gets Astro a vet, and nothing for Jane. Jane gets nothing in this episode.
It's kind of like when we're exchanging gifts with family friends, and they get things for the kids, and for us it's like, oh, here's a big tub of popcorn, and you're like, okay, all right. I got to. Yeah,
I see who the stars are here.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But I've always loved the Jetsons. I think Fred Flintstone, doesn't he make a cameo?
Well, in this episode, instead of a drive-in movie theater, there's a fly-in movie theater, and they show that the Flintstones are on the movie screen in the background.
That's right. That's right.
But yeah, they've had some crossover between those two. So yeah, I was a fan of the show. One thing I didn't like though, the Scrappy Doo type thing, or Orbity of this. The Orbity was like the added character. He's like the Great Gazoo. There was no need for Orbity. Orbity was just like an add-on character.
Well, I mean, I guess if you think about it, there wasn't a need for the Great Gazoo either.
No, right. I'm saying that these are cousin Olivers. These are all things. You just don't need to add that extra character.
Yeah, a show is on its last legs when they start bringing in
Sam on Different Strokes.
Oof. Or what was the kid, the new baby in Married with Children?
Oh, Seven.
That's what it was. Yeah. It's like, okay, well, the show's ending pretty soon. I can tell.
Right.
And it did. So
yeah.
Yep.
It's the kiss of death.
It really is when you don't know what else to do. That's because your kid characters are aging up. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
Hit it, gang! We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
So let's move on to Xmas Marks the Spot by The Real Ghostbusters. This was from December 13th, 1986. This was, again, Sony Pictures, Deke Entertainment. It was based off of the Ghostbusters franchise. They used the word Real Ghostbusters because Filmation had a Ghostbusters as well that didn't have anything to do with the movie. It was just kind of capitalizing on the actual name.
So I never followed the backstory. I remember the two different ones. The one had a giant gorilla, but
That's the one, yeah. The Filmation.
When was that Filmation? When did they have the rights? Was it like the movie came out and they quickly did this, or did they already have something called Ghostbusters and it was just a coincidence?
If I recall correctly, and I might be wrong on my timeline here, but I'm pretty sure it was the movie came out and they put this cartoon together, but they kind of based it off of an old like mid 70s sketch. There was like a couple of sketches done in the particular show that I cannot remember the name. And that's the reason why when they were filming Ghostbusters, they were actually filming two different takes of every scene, one with the word Ghostbusters and one with the word like Ghost Breakers or something like that, because they weren't sure if they were going to get the rights in the actual movie. Eventually they secured the rights. They were able to use Ghostbusters, but Filmation had their cartoon, and again, it was loosely based on that old one with, I mean, the same, they had the hat and outfits and everything, and the gorilla. And so they kind of came out first, but not to be outdone, then they came out with the real Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
and they tied
Arsenio Hall.
Yeah, and Lorenzo Music.
Yes.
So this one I actually really enjoy.
I think this is a very well done one.
Yeah, this one, the Ghostbusters accidentally enter time slip or
portal
or something like that. Time portal, that works. And they're transported back to Ebenezer Scrooge's time, where they bust the ghosts before they could actually teach him the lesson. And so it ends up changing the future, and Egon has to go into the containment unit to retrieve the ghosts, and Venkman and the rest of the crew have to go and try to reconvince Scrooge that the ghosts were real. And then they even say something at the end like, "No, you'll be visited by 3 more ghosts." And then they release the real ghosts, and and then everything is fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a clever take, because they're all about busting ghosts, and then they realize they busted ghosts that helped change the outcome in a good way, and so then they have to fix their mistake. I thought this was a very clever version.
It is. Yeah, it's definitely something different. And I like different because, we see, like you said, so many of these that it can become kind of tedious, and it's just fun. And then seeing, Spengler, Egon in the containment unit trying to get out, and Slimer has to save him in time, and Janine is monitoring. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of excitement and suspense there. So
yeah, I think this is the opposite of a Christmas Carol episode where the writers kind of take a step back. I think they put in a lot of work to make it all work and do something different with it. It's one of the more unique episodes, I think.
Right. And of course, Venkman himself, who was kind of down about Christmas, ends up turning it around as he's trying to convince Scrooge. So
yes,
you get your Linus moment or whatever
yeah.
I'm picking up other presences. Big, powerful. They're coming in at 12 o'clock high.
A Ghostbusters work is never done.
I will not go with you. Get away from me, spirits. Leave me be. Don't just stand there, man. Do something.
You think nobody's ever heard of the word please?
Young says no. You do him far more disservice than us.
Release us, or you and all Christmases to come will pay the price.
Yeah, we've heard it before.
No! You've done it! I'm as happy as an angel.
But we come to one of my favorites. This is A Keaton Christmas Carol. And so I'm kind of skipping over the Blackadder one, because I think IMDb listed as a TV movie or TV special, but so I'll lump it in with the specials. But this is A Keaton Christmas Carol. You and I talked about it. It was the first episode that we recorded together, and it was from Family Ties. It was during the second season, directed by Will Mackenzie and written by Robert Kaplan and Rich Reinhardt. Basically, Alex gets to see his future because he's being a real grump about Christmas time, and his sisters are, quote unquote ghosts, with lots and lots of special effects and
A lot
smoke.
of smoke, the smoke machine.
A lot of smoke.
Come hither. I'm hither.
I'm hither. That's still one of my favorite lines. I randomly say that whenever my wife calls me over. I'm like, I'm hither, and she has no idea what I'm talking about, which is kind of a bummer. But so yeah, this one's fantastic. We get to see Alex kind of start the family tradition about the family photo decorating the tree. We realize he also does her taxes when he's younger.
And yeah, and you find out that it's a good idea to take care of a cough before it gets out of control. He doesn't get cough medicine for Jennifer. Then she speaks in the future. She has a very gravelly voice because of it.
Very, very gravelly. And we get to see Alex overweight and balding and
right. That was his concern, his hair.
But I think my favorite part of that whole episode is when at the very end when he gets his dad a cup of coffee. Because the only thing open was a
cup of coffee. He gets Jennifer
station.
like the 6-pack of cough medicine.
So yeah, it's like huge, yeah.
And he got everybody's laundry folded.
Hey, I mean, I'll take that now. That's like goals right now.
Yeah.
Please fold my laundry for me.
Yeah, if somebody could fold my laundry, especially socks, that would be great.
I mean, yeah, that's one of my favorites. It's so fun.
It's great.
Michael J. Fox is amazing.
What? Who's there? Jennifer, what are you doing here?
I am not Jennifer. I am the ghost of Christmas past.
Yeah, and I'm Ed McMahon. But, get out of here, will you? You're smoking up the whole room. On second thought, why don't you sit down?
Arise, Alex, and come hither, for I am charged with showing you the true meaning of Christmas.
Hey, I'm not coming hither. No way.
Alex, come hither.
I'm coming hither. I'm hither.
We get Merry Christmas, Mr. Carroll, which is from Alvin and the Chipmunks. It was the 13th episode of the 7th season, 1989, written by Diane Dixon. Again, she was a credited story editor. I think she just did a lot of that. Merry Christmas, Mr. Carroll. It's Alvin and the Chipmunks. This is another fun one where
Alvin is he's getting very greedy with like a long Christmas list, but but at the same time he does have a paper route and he's I think an internationally known singer. So it's not that he doesn't do anything.
You know, you gotta, as the Berenstain Bears taught us, you gotta avoid the gimmies, right? You know,
that's right.
But there's another gentleman, Mr. Carroll, and he has like an issue with one of the papers that. Right?
Yeah, I think Alvin throws a paper into into a sprinkler, so he gets like a soaking
it's like
wet
soggy,
paper.
Yeah. And so then he wants him to fix it, and in the end, of course, we get Alvin, because of his greed and his, I don't know, inability to perfectly throw a paper. I don't know, but he gets visited by an older Dave, which I loved, and Simon, I think, is the ghost of Christmas future. I think, and
I think so.
Yeah, but anyway, of course, in the end, he does his report. He gets the shopping done. He helps decorate and all the usual stuff that comes about with it.
Ta-da! I am the spirit of Christmas yet to come. I'm here to show you visions of your future. Thanks anyway, but I'm busy. I have an essay to write, and if I don't get it finished, I'm gonna flunk English. You've been talking about yourself for hours. You must be exhausted. Allow me to talk about you for a while. To show you the you may soon become.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing this one when it aired. This is one that I've only seen later on in life, so I don't have a lot of nostalgia for this one. And it was fine. It was good, but I think I remember more that 1981 special of the Chipmunks.
Yeah, that was the one that kicked off the cartoon, right? Like there was never anything. There was a song, and then the 81 special. What I remember about this is like you. I only saw it in adulthood when I think I got the kids the DVD, and this was like the second thing after the 81 special.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, I mean, it's fine.
Yeah,
that's kind of where I land on it. And I like the Chipmunks, but same thing. It's nothing special there. I do though. One of my favorites is coming up. A Happy Guy's Christmas. It was Mr. Belvedere. This one is just ridiculous and over the top and very much 80s sitcom. This was from December 16th, 1989. And this was the 11th episode of season 6, directed by Don Corvin, written by Walter Snee. And basically the Happy Guys of Pittsburgh, that's like their local theater troupe, essentially. They're putting on their annual Christmas play. They're going to raise some money, and all of the Owens are cast. Mr. Belvedere was going to direct. He gets so fed up that he quits, and then he's visited by the spirits and
Mrs. Owens as the Ghost of Christmas Past. She's wearing like a Jane Fonda aerobics outfit the whole time.
She is, yeah. But she's got like one of those crowns of like St. Lucie, with the leaves and a bunch of candles on it.
But it's a very 80s version with that outfit. But it's that Happy Guys, or the theater production, they must be pretty bad if an entire family takes every part.
Yeah.
Nobody can qualify?
Or nepotism at its best. I don't know. Maybe someone had it in.
And this is a middle-class Pittsburgh family that has a live-in British butler who used to work at like Buckingham Palace.
Right.
So something. Right. There's definitely a backstory on how he fell on hard times, or or where the money's coming from to afford someone of his talents.
I don't know. I mean, Bob Uecker, though, I'll take, if I get a chance to crash with Bob Uecker.
This was Bob Uecker used to kill it on Johnny Carson. And I think this show was the product of like, they found a way to get him his own sitcom, but he used to just be the old baseball player in Miller Lite ads.
Right.
But he was a great talk show guest. And so they found the vehicle for him to be on TV.
Well, and it worked. I mean, I remember him in Major League, doing all the announcers and,
Yeah. He was a super charming guy. I think he still calls a couple innings a game for the Brewers.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Just a bit outside. But I used to love Mr. Belvedere. I always found I didn't get all the jokes, but I mean, it was funny,
I used to watch it. I think this was probably towards the end, though. I remember watching it when I was younger.
I gotcha. But I remember that. And of course, we get to see his future where he's old and he's got the long beard and still upset that he's living with the Owens. And so he turns it around. He turns everything around, and he goes to direct, and they raise like the most money they've ever raised, and as he's writing in his diary or journal or whatever it is, he says something like, I believe that just about anything is possible. And then we get a nice bit where Santa asks if he can come in through the window because someone blocked up the fireplace. And so then he like, scratch that. Everything is possible.
Yeah, that's right. He's got Santa trying to get in through his little journal nook.
Exactly. Yeah.
Tis the night before Christmas, and last night's Happy Guys production was a rousing success. The play raised an all-time high in contributions for the home for not-so-happy kids. Further, it showed me that through the true spirit of Christmas, almost anything is possible.
Mike, if I came through here, somebody closed the chimney.
Make that everything is possible.
But yeah, how they afforded a living butler, I don't know, but I'm gonna go with Mob Connection. That's gonna be
maybe Mrs. Owens has got some behind the scenes drug trafficking situation.
So I just realized I skipped one. It was Ebenezer Morlock from Fame. This was 1985, and I realized I accidentally skipped it in my notes. So this one, there is no drug trafficking except by the local kids, and so. But
this is the vice principal that they do that.
Which this one never really rang true to me because, kind of like you said, they never really established prior to this that Morlock hated Christmas or anything. Like he'd already been there about 2 years, I think, like 2 seasons, and the faculty never noticed that he hated Christmas or didn't put up any decorations or anything like. I mean, at this point in time, I think you would kind of know something a little bit about your vice principal.
Yeah, you know what a vice principal is up to within a few months at the longest. You're several years, you know. To me, this was kind of a nothing episode, except for I thought the Debbie Allen singing at the end. They had her sing "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas," and it was very like a very nice singing in a TV episode, but it didn't have to do with Morlock. It was just the end when they're all like getting together and singing.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. Next year all our troubles will be out of sight.
Yeah, and he always was, again, kind of a grumpy guy, but not really anything to be Scrooge-like about. Like they made him worse for this, just like they did with AC. You know, they kind of tweaked his character just because of all that. But he went back to being a little grumpy, so it didn't take, I guess. And anyway, but you're right. So if you go to YouTube, you can actually find like just the Christmas music, you know, just the singing from the episode, which is really nice. And I kind of wish they had done like an album. I think that would have been cool.
Yeah, it would definitely. There was talent there, you know, singing talent.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about For Whom the Jingle Bell Tolls. This was December 21st.
This was the most obvious Scrooge character.
Yes,
for the show.
1989. It was the second Christmas episode of A Different World. It was in season 3, directed by Debbie Allen, written by Cheryl Gard and Bill Cosby, who helped co-create it. He didn't really. I think it was just the characters. I don't think he actually wrote anything for it. But Whitley's mom basically wants to go to France for Christmas. She's bummed. And so it kind of pushes her over the edge on her bah humbugness. And then she's visited by 3 ghosts who are, you know, all the faculty and RAs and all that. The cook, Sinbad's character.
I think Cosby probably has his name on there just because it was a spin-off, because Denise went there for a year.
Like a year, yeah.
And so I think his name was always on it, but I don't think
he actually wrote it. Yeah, I don't think he did anything. I enjoyed this one again because that was another one of those shows that I always really loved, A Different World. I like seeing the future, and because one of the
futuristic outfits.
Yeah. It was just everybody always thought the future was, you know, especially in the 80s, they just thought it was, you know, the space, the foil.
It was always like a foil outfit.
Yeah.
Often some sort of triangular shape.
Yes, definitely triangular shapes. So when she's shown the present, she like doesn't go to a Christmas party, and when she's shown the present, she sees that Dwayne invites Freddie over to spend Christmas because she's going to be all alone. So he's like, "Come over, you can crash at my place." And it turns out that he always thought of her as a friend, but because of that, in that alternate future, because of that, they end up getting married. Whitley gets bigger, and you know, kind of falls on hard times, has several marriages that fall through, and
goes to the fat farm. They say
they do, yeah.
they make a big point of saying the fat farm. I also like that they did an update at their party that she skipped. They do their own version of 12 Days of Christmas, but you only hear the 5.
5, yeah.
5 onion rings, 4 flunking freshmen, 3 French kisses, 2 butts a bumpin', and an MC Hammer CD.
MC Hammer CD, which made me think, wow, MC Hammer was that early?
Yeah.
I could have sworn he was like 90 or later, but I guess not. So
I liked this episode. I liked Sinbad as the ghost of Christmas present. He was an obvious choice to play the big, and he's eating a big turkey
leg. Yeah.
It was a fun enough version, I thought.
I agree. Yeah. It was just entertaining. And of course, in the end, her mom decides not to go to Paris, and they spend time together, but she invited Freddie so that she wouldn't be alone with Dwayne and avoid that future, which I think in the series,
kind of like
getting married.
Oh, do they? I thought Whitley gets together with him, right?
That's what I mean. Like Whitley and Dwayne, don't they end up getting married?
Yes, they do get together. But much like Jetson, some of her generous actions are just because she sees how, like, Spacely sees how he'd be sued, and so that's why he's got to look after Jetson or Astro. And in this scenario, Whitley sees that Freddie is going to find love with Dwayne Wayne.
With Dwayne.
And so she kind of like invites Freddie to Christmas to have Christmas in France with her mother because she doesn't want her to be around. It's like her motivation is not necessarily goodwill towards Freddie. It's don't let Freddie ruin my
possible
thing.
Future. Yeah.
But at the same time, that's true of her character because she's a character that the next episode, I'm sure, was the cantankerous, judgy.
Yeah,
person.
she was always like the spoiled rich girl kind of, I'm better than everyone kind of character. And so
you see it when they go to the past, you see how her mom kind of shapes her to be that kind of person.
Right. Getting on her about the cowlick and all that.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a couple that I just want to touch on real quickly. One Life to Live, Ace's Christmas Carol. I never watched One Life to Live. My mom watched All My Children and Another World. So this wasn't one that I was super familiar with. I saw it on YouTube, but I didn't know any of the characters.
He just screams a lot.
Yeah.
And my mom watched this show, but he's the industrialist patriarch of the Buchanan family, like the main family. But he was just screaming all the time. There was no like nuance to this episode. Right. There was an episode like 10 years ago, maybe even less than that General Hospital tried to do a straight up telling of it, and they did a pretty good job. This one, I don't know. This was not, it wasn't good.
Yeah. So I think that's enough we can say about that.
Yeah.
This one, I'm not sure if it counts as an episode because it kind of was an episode, but it's listed as like a TV special, so I'm not sure. But it's Blackadder's Christmas Carol. So Blackadder,
that's Mr. Bean,
right? Yes.
And he in this one he uses
Robbie Coltrane. Yeah.
He uses the ghost to teach the main character that being nice is a bad thing. And Tiny Tim is super annoying.
Yes, he is.
So this was kind of a funny, opposite of Dickens' message, joke.
Right. So let's get this straight. If I was bad, my descendants would rule the entire universe.
Maybe. But would you be happy? Being ruler of the universe isn't all it's cracked up to be. There's the long hours having to wave at people the whole time. You're no longer your own boss.
Well, and so he was going to be rewarded by the Queen and everything. Like they've heard about how generous that Mr. Ebenezer Blackadder was and how he's like the kindest man ever. But after he's visited by the ghosts who shows him like his past ancestors and his future descendants, and he realizes that being evil is better, then he kind of tells the Queen off and doesn't get rewarded. So, yeah, but it's fun. It's
fun. It's just a silly.
But I want to talk about this next one because it's bad. It was hard to watch, and I love rock and roll, but this is Scrooge's Rock and Roll Christmas, 1984, and directed by Lou Tedesco, written by Rex Sparger. From 1984. It's kind of hard to get through. It's a mess. It really is.
It kind of tells you that maybe there were a little too many substances being abused in the writers' rooms or something.
I think so, yeah.
Because it's like a woman shows up in Scrooge's office and she gets out a magic snow globe, and then all of a sudden you're like on a mountainside, I think, with Three Dog Night playing.
Three Dog Night, yeah, it's them. There's like Paul Revere and the Raiders.
Mike Love
from the Beach Boys. I mean, it's just weird. But what I want to know is like why did they choose those? Like it's 84, so they could have at least gone with some of the more popular singers.
Yeah, these were all waning popularity, and I think this was on network TV.
I think it was, yeah.
Which is
again
weird.
Like how I don't know. It's hard to sit through, but if you can do it, awesome. I actually know a couple of people that really love it. It's one of their favorites, but I had a hard time getting through it.
No, I don't know. You have to be like Three Dog Night super fan, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense. There's a Scrooge element to it, like they're trying to let you know,
right?
But at the same time, they just kind of they transport you back and forth to a mountain or to a snowy scene, and then you're back in this office, and it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's like the quote unquote ghosts are him just watching the musical acts and like the crystal ball. It's not really like physical, at least if I can recall. I might have turned it off before then, but it's like really just him and that girl in the office until, so yeah.
It's bizarre.
Yeah, it really is.
Just hear those sleigh bells jingling, ring, ting, tingling too. Come on, it's lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with you. Outside the snow is falling and friends are calling you. Come on, it's lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with you.
But then we get some, and I really, we get these here, which are Christmas movies. So we've talked about Scrooged, how awesome it was, directed by Richard Donner. I know Bill Murray isn't happy with it. He thought it was going to be a much better.
Oh my gosh. Does that suck?
I really love this version. Like I mentioned earlier, it's full of fun and it's got a great soundtrack. Danny Elfman wrote the score. I mean, Karen Allen is a sweetheart. It's a great version.
David Johansen as Christmas Past, the cab driver. There are a lot of great performances.
Yeah, if you can get Buster Poindexter, or the singer of the New York Dolls to drive your cab, you got to do it. So,
yes.
It's just, it's phenomenal. There's that one. We get A Christmas Carol 1984 with George C. Scott. That was a made-for-TV movie, but it was shown theatrically in the UK, where it actually did pretty well.
It's Christmas, a time for celebration, a time of goodwill to all men. All, that is, except one.
Those of us with means should make some slight provision for the poor and destitute.
Ebenezer Scrooge, a man whose contempt for others,
Mr. Cratchit,
is matched only by his greed and lust for wealth.
Christmas comes but once a year, sir. Poor excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December.
But Scrooge is about to be taught a lesson he'll never forget.
You will be haunted by three spirits.
I think I'd rather not.
Charles Dickens' immortal tale is brought to life as you've never seen it before.
I am the ghost of Christmas past. You will see yourself.
Ebenezer Scrooge!
You are more worthless and less fit to live than millions like this poor man's child.
I fear you more than any spectre I've seen. I will not be the man I must have been but for this visitation. Why show me this if I am past all hope?
Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, with an all-star cast including Frank Finlay, David Warner, Susanna York, Edward Woodward, Nigel Davenport, Joanne Whalley, and George C. Scott as Ebenezer Scrooge. A Christmas Carol.
Merry Christmas to everybody, and a Happy New Year to the world!
I like George C. Scott. He's definitely more of a greedy type Scrooge, less of a miser and more of like just a shrewd businessman, I think.
Yeah, he was pretty nasty.
Right.
He was he was good. I think when I was little, when this first came on TV, I was a little scared by parts of it. So I didn't like it.
I totally can see that. Yeah.
I think I just never liked it quite the same because it comes out when I'm 8 years old, and I found this a little bit scary and dark, but it's a pretty straight retelling. And I was reading somewhere that somebody on the production of the Alistair Sim was then maybe produced this thing. So they were inspired by doing a straight telling like the Alistair Sim version. And 30 years later, they got to do their own Christmas Carol.
Yeah. And that's always cool. You get to do your own take on it. But you're right. It's pretty much just a straightforward adaptation, as is Mickey's Christmas Carol, which I think is considered technically a short. But it was played before The Rescuers?
And it was I thought that was a good job sort of like the Muppets in that they took characters, Disney characters that you know from other things, and Jiminy Cricket's Christmas Past, and Fezziwig was Mr. Toad, and you found ways to put the Disney characters in there. And I thought that they did a good job with that.
I did too. Yeah, there's a bunch of cameos from lesser known characters, and again, they had like 23 minutes or 26 minutes, whatever, to tell the story, and so of course a lot of fat had to get trimmed, but they actually, I think this was like most kids' first exposure to A Christmas Carol, and so I think they actually did a really good job with it.
I thought it was a well done version. I rewatched it recently, and there was one thing that jumped out at me when he takes the turkey to Cratchit at the end. He's got a loose turkey in the sack with toys. He just dumps them out on the floor, and you're like, "Whoa, that's not good."
I don't think they knew about salmonella back then.
No.
Yeah. Just play with that. Some of the little ones might put them in their mouths. I don't know, but anyway, it's a TV turkey or a cartoon turkey. It's okay.
Yeah, no salmonella on cartoon turkey.
That's right. Yeah, that's like one of those rules. And then there were a few other random versions that were, again, straight up adaptations. There was an animated version starring Ron Hadrick from like 1982. That was his second attempt. There was another TV movie with Marshall Borden from 1982. And then there was another TV movie in 89 with Patrick McNee, and an 81 TV movie version. I mean, it's one of those, and that one has Peter Belden. They're just straightforward adaptations. I haven't seen them all, but as far as I know, they're nothing spectacular.
No, I think of all the straight up adaptations of the 80s, the George C. Scott one is the one that people
know,
kind of think about.
So I think we kind of covered them all here.
Yeah.
And I know I asked you already, but about your favorite version, but of the ones we've covered here, what would you say would be your favorite version?
If it's not, you're saying not Scrooged?
Not Scrooged. Yeah. We'll take those off the table for both of us.
I think my favorite probably it's definitely Keaton Christmas Carol. But I would say of the ones we discussed in more detail today, it's the real Ghostbusters Xmas Marks the Spot.
Okay.
Like
well,
because we didn't talk about Keaton as much this time, but yeah, Keaton is my favorite non-movie version for sure.
I dig it. Yeah, because that's a really good one.
How about you?
So I think for me, it probably would also be Keaton Christmas Carol. It's fun. Who doesn't want to be Michael J. Fox? But if you had to be in one of these versions, which version would you be in, and which character would you play?
If I had to be in one of these, I think I would like to be in the WKRP in Cincinnati. I'd like to hang out with Johnny Fever and the gang for one day.
I can do that.
I'm not a big Johnny Fever lifestyle guy, but for a few days, if I could transport back to 1980 and hang out with Johnny Fever, I think that would be fun.
I think it would be fun. Yeah, just to hang out. So I think I actually would want to be in the Blackadder one, and I think I'd like to see that weird future.
Yeah, that's pretty bizarre.
Yeah, exactly. Just a different experience, I think. But now we come to my favorite part of the show, which is a little segment I like to call Gag Me with the Spoon. So this is where we do our best impression of our least favorite episode. And as the guest, I'll let you go first. Just kind of set up the scene for us.
Well, it's from a Nutcracker Scoop, because you're wondering what clever spin on A Christmas Carol they're going to do, and they see the ghost, and it's, I'm the ghost of Christmas Never. There's a pause actually from Christmas Never.
Yep. That was pretty bad. Yeah. It's actually a pretty good impression though. So I chose Mr. Belvedere, and I thought this particular line was just like, oh, come on. You're Mr. Belvedere. You should know the difference here. You're the fancy British butler. But so it's when Mrs. Owens is in his room. She's the ghost, and he says, Mrs. Owens, what are you doing in my room with a menorah on your head? So yeah, exactly. Like, come on, guy.
You're supposed to be a man of the world.
That's right. Yeah, you're Belvedere, darn it. So anyway, but yeah, that was that. There were some pretty pretty crummy lines in here. Oh, man. But, G.I. Joe did teach us that knowing is half the battle. What do you think the other half is?
Never try to attach antlers to mice using staple.
Nice. Okay. All right. I can dig that. So I think for me, the other half of the battle would just be making sure you have a very loaded smoke machine for your Christmas Carol adaptation.
You can never use too much smoke.
That's right. But Ed, it's been fantastic talking with you.
It's always fun coming on here.
But tell me, I know you got a new edition of your book out. Tell me a little bit about it. What can we expect from it?
So it's the Christmas book, and it's a guidebook to all things Christmas, from the history of it to examining beloved movies, songs, television episodes. I go by different genres, from police shows to sitcoms to every type of thing. And then I also rank the more than 100 versions of Christmas Carol, and just the updated. It's more that I've found new versions over the past year, that like once I came out with the book and doing interviews or just talking to people, they're like, oh, I always thought this was a pretty crazy version of this, or this was a pretty crazy movie that I'd never seen before. A different Christmas. There's some really bizarre Christmas horror movies. And so I just added some more stuff and added some more pictures, but I think it's for lovers of Christmas, and anyone listening to the show, it's just a book that celebrates all things Christmas.
And it's amazing. I have the first edition. I can't wait to get the second, because they've added more. There's a whole section on like out there Christmas specials, and there's quite a few from the 80s. One of them we talked about, A Mouse, a Mystery, and Me.
Yeah.
There's
in the 80s. I think it's just we didn't have that much content. So they would just add like random specials.
Yeah.
And now I think there's just much more content. So they don't do as many out there like one-off specials.
Did you ever see The Monsters Christmas?
I don't know
from New Zealand.
No, I have not.
It's something. that's what I'm gonna say.
I'm gonna have to check it out now.
I'll send you the link.
Please do.
Yeah, it's odd, but it's definitely one that could go in that little section there.
All right.
But yes, guys, go to Amazon or your website, or where else can they get this book?
It's Amazon, the big bully on the block, Amazon.com. That there's soft cover, hardcover, Kindle. That's the way to get it, through Amazon.
All right. You heard it here, guys. Go pick it up. You won't regret it. You'll learn about history. You'll learn about TV. You'll learn about movies. You'll learn about fashion. There's a section on
that's right. Fashion, food.
Yes. It's everything that you love about my show, but more and better. So I highly recommend it. Make sure you look up Ed Daly. Thank you so much again for being with us.
Yeah, this is always fun. I love revisiting my childhood.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's why I do what I do. And on that note, I'll end it by saying it's Christmas Eve. It's the one night of the year when we all act a little nicer. We smile a little easier. We cheer a little more. For a couple of hours out of the whole year, we are the people that we always hoped we would be. It's a miracle. It's really sort of a miracle, because it happens every Christmas Eve. And if you waste that miracle, you're going to burn for it. I know what I'm talking about. So check us out on our social media pages, Facebook and Instagram at Totally Rad Christmas, Twitter at Rad Christmas, or our Facebook group, Totally Rad Christmas Mall and Arcade, where you can make your voice known to us as well. We post anything and everything 80s or Christmas related. And if you're feeling like Mr. Carlson changing his destiny, leave us a review on iTunes. It helps us reach more people and spread some rad holiday cheer. Now, don't forget to check out our merch shop on tpublic.com and our super dope website, totallyradchristmas.com. Did I forget something, big man?
God bless us, everyone.
Later, dudes.
7 o'clock, Psycho sees Santa's workshop, and only Lee Majors can stop them. In the night the reindeer died. Be here.
You can't show that commercial. That thing looked like the Manson family Christmas special.
Think I'm way off base?
Yes, you're a tad off base, sir.
Frank Cross is more than the youngest network president in television history.
Call security, have them change his locks, and toss him out of the building.
Oh, he's fired?
It's Christmas.
Thank you. Call accounting. Stop his bonus. Watch out.
He's a thoughtful boss.
Thanks, boys. Get the nurse.
A generous brother.
What did he give you last year?
I don't remember. A shower curtain. Excuse me, ma'am. I think you dropped something here.
And a true humanitarian.
I can't get the antlers glued onto this little guy. We've tried crazy glue.
Have you tried Staples?
But his life is about to change.
Woo-wee! That was a good one.
You are going to be visited by 3 ghosts tomorrow at noon.
God, tomorrow's bad for me, Lou. As a matter of fact, the whole rest of the week is a washout. Ow.
Anyone who thinks he hates Christmas is wrong.
Come back to Jersey, you moron!
It's ghosts he hates.
I love that bit!
I'm the ghost of Christmas present.
Bill Murray. Karen Allen.
It sounded like you'd seen a ghost.
A ghost?
John Forsythe. Bobcat Goldthwait.
Hey! You glad to see me, or is this a shotgun in your pocket? You know this one?
Everybody knows this one. Let's go now.
Yeah, does everybody know this one?
Carol Kane. Robert Mitchum.
I really care!
David Johansen.
Oh, I'm having the weirdest day!
See Bill Murray get Scrooged.
Hey, back off, big man. That may work with the chicks, but not with me.